Hi, my name is Carina and welcome to the Carina Chronicles. In this video I'm going to tell you about all the books that I've read in this April, and as I participated in the Orilium Readathon I'm also going to tell you if I finished all the prompts that I should. I already can tell you there have been better reading months, like March, but also way worse. The amount of pages that I've read this month are quite fine, actually. So that is nice, but the ratings are not as good and the amount of books are also not as good. But do we really care about that? I don't think so. The most important thing is that I finished my calling for the Orilium Readathon. Well, the most important thing is that I'm having fun, but I also really wanted to end and fulfill all the prompts for the calling. And in this readathon you could choose a calling, so kind of a career path, and every career path had different prompts that you should read to go farther in the Orilium Readathon Academy. And I explained a lot about this in my TBR for April, so you can watch that video if you're very confused about what I'm saying right now. And you can of course also look back at Book Roast, the person that is organizing this readathon, back to her channel and see the explanation. But I have read 3 4-ish books. I've read 3, but one is only 40 pages. I literally planned time to read this tonight. I have like 5 hours to read a book of 40 pages, so I'm certain that I will finish it. I just can't tell you about it yet. So then 4 books, and I think that's just mediocre but fine. So let's quickly go into them. So in my last wrap-up I promised you that I would also tell a little bit about the detectives that I read, because I had the same as I'm telling now about this short story, that I hadn't read them when I filmed, but I did read them in that month, so I talked about them. And those were No Consent by Teresa Burrell and L.G. Sellers, and The Advocate by Teresa Burrell. And my overall opinion about them is that they are very nice to read through. They are really like those detectives you see on the television, that you can watch many episodes and you forget about it afterwards, but you have had a great time. That's exactly what I thought about both of these detectives. I will definitely look up more of their books, because sometimes that's just really nice to read and it gives you like a lot of momentum to read more. So I really liked that, but not like, I didn't think it was the greatest thing ever or something, but I really will read more of them, so that's nice. And the first book that I actually read in April and also started in April was The Seven Sisters by Lucinda. I read this book for the Orilium Readathon. I took up a quest and I needed to read a book with gold foil on the cover or gold in the title, and this is gold foil. Also the stars you can now not see very clear, but they are all. That's what I read this for. I am really happy that I've read this finally, because with this book everyone seemed to have read it and loved it, and mostly people that don't read that much, and if people do read a lot, they're like, no, this is too cheesy, you can't read this. So I really wanted to know what the hype was about, and I think I get it. I get the hype. It reads so easy, you transport to another world very easy, the characters are very likable, and you learn a lot about the history as well, which is all very nice. I just thought this was way too big and there was no really interesting plot. I just didn't bother. But I can imagine why it reads so quick and that people like it because of it. But yeah, I gave it 3 stars in the end. And I am definitely planning on reading the rest of the series, especially the second part is apparently about music, and that's more my cup of tea. So I am going to continue this, but that this is like the most popular novel series at the moment is kind of weird to me. So the second book I've read was actually a Dutch one, and it's called Duisternis by Eva Lindén, a Belgian author. I got this as a review copy from Hemmy Books uitgeverij, and it is actually a youth book, as we call it, between middle grade and YA. And that is really it. You should go into it knowing that it's a book meant for children, because I sometimes was like, okay, this is too cheesy, and why is everything explained so elaborately? And I also thought this is based on Dungeons and Dragons, that you could see too clearly what happened when they were playing Dungeons and Dragons, and that was translated too literally to this book. But I think that when I was a child, I would have loved this so much. Really, I think that this would be one of my favorite series ever. So maybe I'm a bit too harsh on it. I'm giving it 3 stars as well, just as the Seven Sisters. And maybe I'm being too harsh, but I just rate my books due to the enjoyment I have, and not because how much I think others would love it. But I would really recommend this to read when you're very young and still in high school and just get started on fantasy. This is really good for you. And the third book I've read was actually The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros. And this was supposedly a romance, and I'm not really into romance, so I was quite nervous. And in the end, I think it is meant as a romance, but just with a lot of other layers in there. But I thought I was just not in the mood for this. I'm not a mood reader, but this was definitely not my mood when I was reading it. It's so sad, and everything goes wrong all the time, and everyone dies, and then you have this cringy love that is supposedly like the most romantic thing ever, but it's kind of insta-love almost, and I don't know. It was not my cup of tea, I think. But people really love this, and maybe it was really just my mood, because if you read It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, I really loved that book, and that was also cringy, insta-love, and in the end it appeared to have a lot of different layers and also a very sad story, and it had me crying all the time. So then I was in the mood apparently, and now I wasn't. So maybe I'm more of a mood reader than I expected to be, but when I read this now, I gave it 3 stars as well. Yes, I'm getting kind of into this 3-star slump, because both The Advocate and No Consent were also 3 stars. So I want to read a book that I really like. But okay, I am happy I've read it though, because it's something different for me. So I might recommend it to you if you're into romance and want more to the story than just a romance story. This is it, I think. And then the 4th book, that is My Mother's Eyes by Jeremy Ray. And I got that book from the author himself to review. I'm really happy with that. The reviews are incredible. Really, I'm so excited for this, because this is the book that has only 40 pages and that I am planning on reading tonight. So I'm really sorry I can't tell you yet. I have 5 hours to read 40 pages. I am certain I can do that, and then I will be just in time for the Orilium Readathon, because then for my calling I needed to read 3 books, being an intimidating one, which was Duisternis, because I need to finish it in time for the publisher, being one that is set on Earth, and that was The Last Letter, and a short story, which is My Mother's Eyes. So then I finished everything I wanted to finish. I really hope I give this book at least 4 stars. I'm so done with all the 3-star ratings. At least if you read a very bad book, then you know, like, okay, I have complaints. I can make a rant about this. And if you're a really good book, you just had a great time. But all these 3 stars are just forgettable reads for me. So that's a shame. As I think that in 5 hours I can easily finish this, I will also start a new book, Being Normal People by Sally Rooney. And I'm really curious to see that one. I will make sure that I read it before the 6th of May, because then we're going to discuss it with the book club. And I also want to watch the TV show and then make a video out of it. So I'm really curious to see. I am a bit skeptical. It doesn't sound like something for me, but it could also just easily be that I apparently love it because it is a quick read, as people say, and sometimes if you really get sucked into it, then it's just great, although it doesn't sound like something for you. So I'm really curious on which side I'm going to be. But yeah, I think my reading month went fine, but I want a better one in May. But I don't know. You know what will help? My boyfriend is away for 2 weeks this month and I'm going to miss him, and that will probably be me reading so that I don't have to miss him because I'm in my head in another world. So I think I will read a lot in May, which would be nice. So that was actually it for today's video. I really hope you liked it. If you did, please leave a like. And comment down below how your reading month went. What was your favorite book? And please give me some recommendations that are not 3-star ratings. If you subscribe to my channel and you click the notification bell, you will be notified whenever I post a new video. I hope you'll have a lovely day filled with books. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye! I am sorry if my voice sounds a bit weird. I just partied a lot this weekend, I guess. But I really tried to still be understandable. I hope it worked.